I'm traveling throughout the state on this Labor Day and seeing all of these incredible labor signs and the word freedom written on it. I couldn't put or sum up this election cycle into a better word except for that one. It's about freedom this go round. And it's about freedom in a number of ways. Some of us just want to be able to talk to our neighbors again, no matter what flag they're carrying, right? Some of us want to be able to do that. And it's okay for us to want that, and it's okay for us to be able to do that. But we have a leader right now who is more insistent on pitting our communities against one another than to bringing them together. And if there is anything that we've learned over these last couple of years about how we overcome our challenges, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that when we put our heads together despite our differences to overcome for the good of all of us, then that's the best outcome and the best type of sustainable change that any of us can ask for. But it starts at something fundamental, having a table where people can actually communicate. Right. And we know right now that our governor does not believe in that such table, and I'm not going to dictate whether or not that makes her a good or a bad person, but what I will say is that that is not the type of leadership we need in this state right now. It's not the type of leadership we need. And why? Because in this critical election cycle, when we're talking about freedom, when we're talking about democracy working and operating for all of us, we have the opportunity in this state to make sure that democracy will continue to live, that democracy will continue to thrive, because there's this outstanding question out there of whether or not it's alive or dead. Why is there this question out there of whether or not it's alive or dead? Well, because 9 years ago, our Supreme Court decided to gut the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And when they decided to gut the Voting Rights Act of 1965, saying, look, folks are voting fine now. We've even elected a black president. Just give the power back to the states and let the states decide who's going to vote for the people or who's going to vote and how they vote and when they vote. Well, what happened over the last 9 years? We consistently saw the degradation of our voting system, and you heard from future Secretary of State Joel Miller of what that looks like. Well, 9 years later, here we are again, where the Supreme Court has an opportunity to consistently and continue protect women in our right to choose. And what do? They say we're relinquishing that duty, and we're giving it back to the states. Well, some states know how to do that well, protecting women. But this state has a governor who is insistent on meddling in people's doctor's appointments to the extent that they want to ban abortion at 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Our governor worked hard a couple of years ago to ban abortion at 20 weeks. 20 wasn't enough. Now we're going even farther into the extreme. For an individual to go into their doctor's appointment and make a decision that's within their best interest, our governor believes that they should consider her opinion in that decision. That is not what freedom is. That is not what freedom will ever be, regardless of where we stand, pro-choice or pro-life. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that pregnancy has infinite variables. If anybody has been pregnant here more than once and both pregnancies look the same, please raise your hand. They didn't. Because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But for some reason, we have a governor who wants to put in black and white and dictate and regulate that process. That is not about what freedom is. And if she is interested in doing that, what other freedoms is she willing to take away? We can't sit by and stand by and wait and see. We can interrupt it in this election cycle using our democratic right to vote. Right. I want you all to participate in this process more than I've wanted anything in a long time. I believe in voting, and it's my hope that you all will align with my values as I align with yours and vote for me. But more importantly, I just want you to participate. I want you to be a part of this process, because in order for us to truly allow democracy to work, the people have to participate, and our Iowa State Constitution says that. In Section 2 of the political power section, it says all political power is inherent in the people. You all are those people. You all are those people that deserve to be able to send your kids and your grandkids to a strong quality public school. You deserve that. That's a freedom that each and every one of you all deserve. all are working real hard, and some of you all have worked hard to make sure that you're bargaining for the things that are going to not only help you, but provide for your families. You're bargaining for things like health care. But unfortunately, what's happening because of our governor's leadership is that many of you are driving 45, 60 miles to be able to use that health care. That's unreasonable. Some of you all are going to mental health care appointments, or you have family and friends that you're sending to mental health care appointments, and they're being turned away. They're being told they have to wait 6 and 8 months. That freedom to be able to use your insurance in the moment in which you need it so you can be healthy and whole Iowans is at stake in this election cycle right now. Insured people are being turned away from services. And so if insured people are being turned away, we can only imagine what the most vulnerable amongst us are experiencing. Freedom is being tested. The freedom to be able to go into a grocery store and know you can leave healthy and whole. That's on the ballot too. And so as we're looking at all of the things that matter to us, whether it's hopping into this lake around here and knowing we're not going to get infested with the brain-eating amoeba, right? Those things are at stake. We have a governor in office who does not see our challenges. You ask her about education, she'll talk about record investments. You ask any of you all about education, because I've asked some of you all, you want to see a change. You want to see progress. You ask our governor about employment and unemployment, she'll talk about the record unemployment numbers. But when I go to high schools and middle schools and I ask our kids about employment, they're telling me about how they're having to watch their parents struggle and how they don't want to do that. In fact, when I was in Sioux City, just before I came here, the first people I talked to was a group of 8 and 13-year-olds, 8 to 13. And they talked to me about how they saw their parents struggling. And they no longer wanted to see that anymore. This is impacting all of us, folks. But I am of the firm belief that no matter the challenge, no matter the difficulty, we as Iowans are equipped to overcome these challenges. Why? Because we've done it before. We've done it before. You know, and I often tell you all this, and I have to consistently remind you, because sometimes we're listening to radio or on Facebook and Twitter and hearing everybody else across the country characterize our state in ways that we don't like. But in those moments, we have to be reminded of what we're capable of. And so when we're thinking about education, overcoming the fact that our governor has allowed us to fall farther and farther down the list, our once number one in the nation status is 18, 19, 20. When you're thinking about how we fight for that, how we get back to a sustainable level and ensure that these little babies have access to a strong quality public education system, I want you to be reminded that us as a state have won a harder battle than where we stand related to education right now. Because there was a point in time when black kids and Latino kids and white kids all over this country could not go to the same school. And there's a famous desegregation case called Brown versus Board of Education that changed that across the entire country. But before that happened across the entire country, our state, nearly 100 years before Brown versus Board of Education, when we were probably 99.9% white, our state, Iowa, decided to desegregate schools. We did that in our state. We did that. And so when we're thinking about, oh my goodness, look at what they're saying about us. Remember what Kamala said back when she was traveling throughout the state running for president. Don't you let people tell you who you are. You show them who we are. And this state, while it may not be the show me state, we're a little bit better. Because we've showed people time and time again that no matter the difficulty, no matter the obstacle, no matter how unpopular our belief system may be, we are conditioned to focus on the individual in the state of Iowa. Because when we desegregated schools, we did that on the account of a little black girl who was 12 years old in Muscatine County. We did that for her. And because we did it for her, students after her all across the state had access to a strong quality public education system. Our voice matters in this state. Our positions matter in this state. Remember what happened in 2007 when the rest of the country was trying to figure out who should be the next president of the United States. Iowa made a very unpopular decision. We said the next president of the United States should be a black man by the name of Barack Hussein Obama, and everybody looked at us like we were crazy. And after they looked at us like we were crazy, they the challenges of the everyday person, and we are committed to resolving those challenges no matter how hard they may be. 2009, we were all in everybody's bedrooms. Remember this question everybody was trying to figure out, who should marry who? It's a big question. Our state decided to make an unpopular decision because we see the good that exists in everyone, and we said, mind your business and marry who you choose. Our state did that. We all have been battle tested. You all, as union members, you better believe y'all have been battle tested, especially considering what this governor and her predecessor has dealt you all. She has created spaces where it is harder for you all to thrive, and that is not right. There is no good in that. But now has come the time for us to restore and show people what democracy is supposed to be. Everybody in this state deserves a pathway to life, liberty, and happiness. That pathway should be made available. But under this leadership, that pathway is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and we don't have to take it anymore. We do not have to take it anymore. And so I'm asking you all to stand with me and understand that this road is possible. But we have to do it together. I know y'all are sad. Y'all aren't in the 3rd District anymore. But Democrats have not forgotten you, Pottawatomie County. And we won't ever forget you. We won't ever forget you. But here's the thing. We've got to get to work. We've got a little bit more than 60 days left in this thing. That's it. And I'm hoping that each and every one of you all have gas in the tank. And I know y'all want to win Pottawatomie County for me so bad, so bad. But let me tell you something. I'm not going to ask you to win Pottawatomie County for me. I'm not going to ask you to do that, because sometimes we ask you all to do that and you're thinking about the other side too much. What I'm asking you all to do is do better than you did in 2018. Because this lane is possible. In 2018, my opponent only won with a 37,000 vote advantage. That was it. 37,000 votes. Won with a 50.3% of the vote. Just barely a majority. And so as we were looking at our path to victory, trying to figure out where our wins were, we realized that there was some underperformance amongst the Democratic Party. There was some underperformance amongst no-party people. And this is what we found out. In 2018, we had 56% of Democrats show up in Pottawatomie County. Can we do better than that?
Oh, yeah.
We had 64% of Republicans, not to compare, but just to let you all know where we sit. Now, out of those 56% of Democrats who showed up in 2018, 65 and older, 72% of y'all showed up. Overachievers. Clap to that. Clap to that. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. 50 to 64-year-olds, Democrats, 63% showed up. Not too bad. Not too bad. Now, when I say that we need to do this together, there are a few demographics that we've got to do better at connecting with. 18 to 34-year-olds. Anybody know any 18 to 34-year-olds? Yeah. Anybody at 18 to 34? Woo! We got 2, 3. I used to be a part of that demographic. That's one demographic, 18 to 34-year-olds. No party. Less than half of no party folks showed up in 2018. Less than 30% of our communities of color showed up in 2018. Now, when I say showed up, some of you all are thinking they should have been there. They know who died for their right to vote. Wait, people don't organically show up to vote all the time. They show up because somebody knocked on their door, because somebody called their phone, because they saw an ad or they had a conversation with someone. It takes work. It takes resources to get people engaged. And I believe that you all are up for the task. So when we look at 18 to 34-year-olds in 2018, I'm going to tell you all what the turnout looked like. And I know we can do better than that. 18 to 34-year-olds. Let's start with 18 to 24. 34% turnout. Can we do better than that? I think we can. 25 to 34-year-olds. 36% turnout. We can do better than that. And then overall, no party in Pottawatomie County. 36%. So as you all are thinking about how we win this election, looking at the turnout here, we've got a lot of room for growth. And if you all can operate from the mentality of seeking out those 18 to 34-year-olds, seeking out those blacks, those Latinos, folks who have come from other states and now they're living in Iowa, if you can figure out ways to engage those people because you know them, that's a part of our win. And I know you're probably wondering, when I call them, what do I say? You don't have to say very much. All you have to do is just check in on them. See what matters to them. You don't even have to say the word vote. You don't have to say my name. You don't have to say Kim Reynolds' name. Just see what matters to them. Because so many of us feel so alone right now. Some of us think that the issues that we're experiencing them on our own. When I was talking to a mama just last week, I was telling her about the mental health care challenges, about how we're 45th in the nation at mental health care worker availability. The fact that people are waiting 6 and 8 months to seek care. This mama had been trying to find an appointment for her 3 girls that are under the age of 12 for more than 8 months. And she thought she was a bad mother because she couldn't make it happen. She had no idea that the system was standing in her way. More people need to know they're not alone. And they're going to find that out because of the conversations that you all have with them. We are in this together, good people. We are in this together. It is about time that we start using democracy to put each and every one of you all first. And that's what I'm committed to doing as your next governor. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Labor Day to each and every one of you all.